CH1. In the beginning, we see two men who are talking to each other in an office. The man, who is known as the surgeon, tells Mr. Walker to write a suicide note to his wife. Walker says that no one will believe them, but the surgeon tells him that they've adapted his medical records to show a history of him suffering from depression. Mr. Walker says that he won't sign the note, and he tries to give money to the surgeon, but the surgeon tells him that he has money and tells him to hurry up and sign the note. Then he tells Mr. Walker to jump out of the window, but Mr. Walker says that if even he wants to jump, he can't because all the windows are laminated together. The surgeon gets up and says to Mr. Walker that everyone calls him the surgeon for a reason, and tells him to observe. Then he takes a surgical knife from his pocket and breaks the window with it. He shouts at Mr. Walker and tells him to write the note already. Mr. Walker finally follows his orders and jumps. Soon a police officer recites the suicide note to Walker's wife, Katia. After hearing the note, Katia says that the note doesn't sound like Walker, but the police officer asks her that was it his handwriting. Katia says it was, but they were planning to go out to watch a show tonight. If he wanted to do this, why did he buy the tickets then? Another female officer tells her that depression many strange things to people. Katia gets frustrated, and in her frustration, she yells at the officer and tells them that her husband was not depressed. The officer tells her that the medical records were saying he had depression. The male police officer tells Katia to cool down. Katia tells the police officers that she wants to see Walker's dead body, but T-Bed police officer tells her that it was not a good idea. And the female officer tells her that her husband jumped off the 51st floor, because of which is born so shattered and his organs are damaged and leaking through cavities. And she says that if he fell on his head, then his face will be unrecognizable. But Katia doesn't listen to them, and she removes the sheets and watches her husband. During a boxing match, Katia ferociously attacks her sparring partner. And after the spar, her partners Sydney ask her if she was okay because she was striking him quite ferociously. Katia starts crying and tells him that she kept on seeing her husband's dead body during the match. She says to him that the police officers told her that he was depressed, but if he was depressed, why didn't he come to her? Sydney says to her that maybe he was going to. She further says that Walker went to see a doctor, and he was hiding all this from her. She says that she doesn't know what else he was hiding from her. Then we see our war going on in Macedonia, and a man named Giles from London receives a call, and he tells the other person named Adam that he wishes to be there when this was going on. Adam asks him, that was it not their doing? Giles tells him that it was not their doing. He says that it was their new friends who were responsible for this. Adam says the name of a group known as the Dark Loops. Giles says that he hates that name. He says that they did all of this on their own, just to attack the Macedonia Dinar, and their intentions were still unclear. Then Giles tells Adam that he has some business with the mayor of London, so he will talk to him later. Then Adam asked his man if he was able to understand what the machine was talking about. His man tells him the best thing they could do is to decode their messages to understand their language. Adam said that they can destroy them. Then the surgeon comes in and he happily says that finally a war between man and machine. Adam's man corrects him and says that the proper term will be man versus transmuted parcel of information. The surgeon then threatens the worker and says that if he ever tries to correct him again, he will kill him. Adam's man apologizes. Then the surgeon informs Adam about Kevin Walker and his wife. He says that Kevin's wife is making a fuss because of it. The suicide verdict was being delayed. He further says that Kevin's wife was much younger than Kevin and maybe she married him because of money. The surgeon suggests that he should kill Katia, but Adams tells him to leave her be for the time being. The surgeon informs Adam about Kevin's first marriage and tells him that his first wife died 7 years ago and Kevin had a son from her, and his son is a geek. On the other hand, Katia visits Kevin's son. She tells a man that her husband told her that Philip was suffering from selective mutism, and the man tells her that Philip has been quiet since his father last time visited him. Katia asked that did anything happen between them, but the man says that he doesn't know, but Philip looked very disturbed by it. Then Katia asked the man how was Philip doing, and the man says that the treatment was going well. Katia then asked the man will it be a good decision to tell Philip about his father's death. The man tells her that it would be better if she tells Philip the reality, because if she kept on hiding it, he will eventually hate her. Then Katia talks to Philip and tells him about what the police officer told her. She says that she doesn't believe that Kevin committed suicide. She then asked Phillips if his father told him that he was depressed. Phillips doesn't say anything, and Katia then says to him that she knew that Philip resented her and thinks that she stole his father from him. She says that she loved Kevin, and then she says goodbye to Philip and goes away. Philip goes back to his room where he opens a book, and that book was filled with Katia's pictures. Philip feels guilty and he apologizes to his dad. Katia goes back to her home where she receives a phone which had a video recording of Kevin. In the recording, Kevin tells Katia that if she was seeing this, it means that Kevin was killed. He says that he has instructed his lawyers that if he dies, they should hand this phone to Katia. Then he said that he knows that Katia wants to find out who killed him, but the less she knows, the better it is. He says that if the people who killed him think that Katia doesn't know anything, she will be safe. He further says that although he had died by then, Katia will still have money, and she will be able to live by using that money. He instructs her to pull Philip out of the school and to run. He then says that he knows that Katia won't run, so he tells her to be safe and protect herself. He instructs Katia that she should not trust the police and should try to stay away from a man named Marco. He also tells her to find the key. Kevin says that the key was the answer to everything, and he says that whatever Katia will find about him is the truth. He says that he loved her, and the moment he died he will be thinking of her. Then he tells Katia to always remember him. Katia is thinking about the key when she hears the doorbell. She asked who was it, and the man on the other side of the door says that it was Marco from Kevin's office. Katia lets him in, and Marco says to her that he was very worried about her. She was alone in such a big apartment, she must be feeling lonely and would be haunted by the ghosts. Katia says that sometimes ghosts are more confronting. Marco says that if Katia ever needed anything, she should tell him. Katia gets angry and tells him that whatever he was after, either it's money or her body, he why never get either of them, and then she pushes him out of her home. Marco says that he was just trying to be a friend, but Katia says that she doesn't want such a friend. When Katia goes back, she realizes that during all this, Kevin's phone was missing. She understands that it was Marco who took it, so she calls him and apologizes to him for all this. She says that she was embarrassed and she didn't know where all that come from. Marco says that it's okay, he knows she was just emotional. Katia says that Marco was sweet and he was right, she was feeling lonely and she wants to go somewhere away for a few hours. Marco then invites her over to dinner. Katia says that she will be there in 30 minutes, she just needs to change her dress. During the dinner, Marco says that it will be better if they forget everything and think that it was just a simple misunderstanding. Katia then asks him when he said if she needed anything, wasn't he talking about sleeping with her? Marco says that they both are human and they don't need to rush anything, as Katia was still mourning her husband. Katia says that she agrees with him on this. Then she says that she is still young and she has needs. Marco at once says that was his point, that she has needs. Then Katia says to him that he had something that belongs to her. Marco takes out the phone and apologizes to Katia by saying that he mistakenly took it and he was going to give it back to her. Katia asks him if he say what was inside it, but Marco says no. Katia once points a knife at him and calls him a liar. She says that he was one of the people who killed her husband. Marco looks into her eyes and says that the night was going so well till now. He then flips over the table and yells to Katia that he never thought Katia was one of those girls who like it rough, and then he punches Katia. And then he headbutts her in her face, causing a nosebleed. Because of all this, knife in Katia's hand falls and Marco stabs Katia's hand with a knife, and he starts to overpower her. In all this commotion, Katia sees the knife and picks it up, and she stabs Marco's neck. Then she says to Marco that if he wants her to call 911, he should quickly tell her the names of the people who killed her husband. Marco says the name Giles Cameron and dies. Katia says that she will find him no matter what she had to do. And that's all for today, guys. Stay tuned to get more new videos. Stay safe and keep watching.